This week on Inside Boulder News, new electric vehicle charging stations are installed around the city, Boulder B-Cycle expands bike sharing with 2 new locations, and an interactive map helps residents prepare for the Pro Cycling Challenge.
Welcome to Inside Boulder, featuring topics and stories that impact the community of Boulder, with Patrick von Kaiserling and Jennifer Bray. And on the news desk, Natalie Wood and Mike Benuelos bring you the stories making headlines in the community this week. Inside Boulder News starts now.
Welcome to Inside Boulder News. I'm Natalie Wood. Residents and city employees now have access to new electric vehicle charging stations and electric vehicles around Boulder. The stations were installed as part of a $500,000 federally funded project to test smart charging throughout the city of Boulder. This comes a year after 2 charging stations were installed at South Boulder Rec Center for public use. Here's more on the electric vehicle charging stations and a new Ego car share electric vehicle that will be available for both city employees and the public.
What we have is a $500,000 federally funded project to test smart grid charging throughout the city of Boulder for electric vehicles. And part of that program includes installing the charging stations. We've been working with the Department of Energy to focus that grant on smart charging, lessening the impacts of electric vehicle charging loads on buildings, and promoting and encouraging renewables as part of that grant. Not only are we providing public charging stations, but we're also providing a car for car sharing. It's available for anybody that signs up through Ego Car Share to rent and drive a electric vehicle. Tying all the systems together, the charging stations, the vehicle, solar PV systems on our buildings, and really some battery storage systems is what's going to be the building automation system, which will create the smart charging environment.
By the end of the year, a total of 7 electric vehicle charging stations will be installed for city fleet use, and 15 to 20 stations will be installed for public use. You can learn more about these stations on the Fleet Services page of the city's website. Another great way to get around town without using gas is through Boulder's bike share program. Boulder B-Cycle added a station at the North Boulder Rec Center last week, making it the northernmost station in Boulder. It's an easy way to hit the gym without having to drive.
We're hoping that this station here at the North Boulder Rec Center will encourage people to ride to recreation instead of drive. Oftentimes it's really hard to find a parking space here at North Boulder Rec Center, so we're hoping people will use the great connectivity between 13th Street and the pathway system to bring them here to the Rec Center by B-Cycle.
Boulder B-Cycle also added a southern location this week at Broadway and University. The rapidly growing bike share program currently has more than 1,700 members and 18 stations around town. Some of the best cyclists in the world will be racing through Boulder on August 25th as they finish the 6th stage of the USA Pro Cycling Challenge. The race is expected to draw enormous crowds to Boulder, and organizers want residents to plan ahead for parking and transportation. Inside Boulder News talked to city officials about periodic road closures on race day and a new interactive map that outlines the race route and city parking locations. So with me today is Senior Project Manager Eric Amy, who's going to take us through some tools on the USA Pro Cycling Challenge website, and people can use this website to be prepared for parking and transportation. Is that right?
That's right, Natalie. The website is usaproboulder.com. It is the official website of the local organizing committee who helped to bring the race here to Boulder. And this is the front page you're seeing here in front of you. And in order to access the map, click on Interactive Stage Map here at the top, and it will load for us here. This is a great map that was built for us by our GIS folks here at the city. And first thing you'll notice, there's a lot of information on here, and there's a legend in the bottom left. If you click on that, it will bring it up, and it'll tell you what each of these things mean. Obviously, the P's are for parking. The lines, the yellow and green lines are, as well as pink, represent road closures, and whether they are rolling or whether they are permanent for the day. If you click on, for instance, a road closure, it will pop up and it will give you some information. These times are based on the earliest expected arrival time for the race and the latest expected departure time for that segment of the road, which represents its closure. Again, this particular stretch of Broadway that we just clicked on here is a rolling closure, and so when the race is about to come through, it will close, and when the race departs, it will reopen to traffic again. So it gives you some information here as to when that will be. So we think this is a great tool. We would encourage people to use it, to sort of surf around, to see where the route is going to be, to see where the parking is going to be, to understand whether they can park and walk, whether they can park and ride their bike, or whether they can park and take a shuttle into downtown.
Watch next week's Inside Boulder News to check out the excitement around town as race day approaches. Boulder City Council heard on Tuesday that the city's nearly $218 million 6-year capital improvement program is on track. CIP leverages millions of federal dollars to shore up city infrastructure, improve city software systems, and improve parks. The multi-year project includes $49 million in bond funds approved by voters in 2011 and has city staff making improvements across Boulder. Staff said there are major infrastructure improvements in every geographic corner of the city. For more information on Boulder's capital improvements projects, visit bouldercolorado.gov/CIP. Thanks for watching Inside Boulder News. Stay in touch with us on Facebook by submitting news tips and questions. Just search for City of Boulder Channel 8. More Inside Boulder is next.